Welcome to another special episode of our Mandatory Mental Liberation series, produced by Baba Jalani Bomani Dembe, the founder of Majestic Mind Matters University. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin, for this new episode titled Historical Accountability and Melanin-Rich Culture Boundaries. The necessity of the Mandatory Mental Liberation series at Majestic Mind Matters University lies in our focus on serving our melanin-rich culture community. By addressing the importance of knowledge of self to produce greater self-awareness and advocating for our mental liberation, especially for our precious melanin-rich culture children, our messages aim to combat the enduring effects of generational mental enslavement stemming from the historical trauma of the chattel enslavement of the ancestors. Our initiative seeks to empower us to break free from these harmful and unfavorable legacy and cultivate a deep-rooted sense of self-identity and unwavering resilience. Our melanin-rich culture nation doesn't question that it is not wrong to refuse accepting individuals of other races into our culture. It is a question that is easily answered, as it touches on deep-seated issues of historical oppression, systemic racism, and cultural preservation. In order to truly understand this question, it is important to unpack the historical context in which it arises and how this decision is made. The unfavorable legacy of chattel enslavement of the ancestors and exploitation looms large in the history of our melanin-rich culture. For generations, melanin-rich culture descendants been subjected to unimaginable cruelty, violence, and dehumanization at the hands of individuals from other races. The scars of this history run deep and continue to shape the experiences and perspectives of our melanin-rich people today. It is within this context of historical oppression that the question of accepting individuals of other races into our melanin-rich culture must be examined. One of the arguments often put forth in support of refusing to accept individuals of other races into our melanin-rich culture are the facts of historical accountability. Many individuals argue that those who did not participate in the oppression and exploitation of our melanin-rich culture people should not be held responsible for the actions of their ancestors. While this argument may have merit, and yet it fails to acknowledge the continued impact of historical oppression on our melanin-rich culture and the ways in which individuals from other races continue to benefit from systems of white privilege and inequality that were built on the backs of our melanin-rich culture ancestors. Moreover, the argument of historical accountability overlooks the ways in which individuals from other races perpetuate systems of oppression and discrimination in the present day. Racism, both overt and covert, remains a pervasive force in society, and individuals from other races still contribute to this racism through their actions, attitudes, and beliefs. This perpetuation of racism further deepens the sense of mistrust and resentment that our melanin-rich individuals feel towards individuals of other races. It is also important to consider the concept of self-determination and autonomy when exploring this question. Just as individuals from other races have the right to celebrate and preserve their own cultural heritage, so too do individuals of our melanin-rich descendants have the right to protect and uphold our cultural identity. This cultural identity is often rooted in a history of resilience, resistance, and survival in the face of oppression, and should be honored and respected. The question of whether it is wrong for us to refuse accepting individuals of other races into our culture is an issue that requires no careful considerations. It is essential to understand the historical context in which this question arises, and to recognize the ongoing impact of historical oppression on our melanin-rich culture people. Individuals from other races must acknowledge their privilege and work towards dismantling systems of oppression and inequality. At the same time, individuals of our melanin-rich culture descent have the right to self-determination and cultural autonomy. By approaching this question with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to justice, we can work towards a future where we are valued and respected. The historical experiences of oppression and exploitation have had a profound impact on the relationship between individuals of our melanin-rich culture and individuals from other races. These experiences, rooted in centuries of chattel enslavement of the ancestors, colonization, and systemic racism, have created an unfavorable legacy of systemic inequality, discrimination, and trauma that continues to shape interactions between different racial groups. For individuals of our melanin-rich culture, the historical experiences of oppression and exploitation have left deep scars that continue to impact our lives and relationships with individuals from other races. The trauma of chattel enslavement of the ancestors, genocide, and colonization has been passed down through generations of prosperity for other races, resulting in a collective memory of pain, suffering, and injustice. This unfavorable legacy has led to a deep distrust and resentment towards individuals from other races, particularly those who have been historically privileged and responsible for perpetuating oppression and exploitation. The effects of this historical trauma are evident in the way we navigate our relationships with individuals from other races. We may feel a sense of anger, betrayal, and alienation towards those who benefit from systems of oppression and have not acknowledged or taken responsibility for their roles in perpetuating racism, leading to a reluctance to trust or engage with individuals from other races, as well as a desire to protect ourselves from further harm. On the other hand, individuals from other races may carry feelings of guilt, shame, or denial about their own privilege and the role that their ancestors played in perpetuating oppression and exploitation. This guilt and shame will manifest in defensiveness, denial, or avoidance of conversations about race and racism, further exacerbating tensions between different racial groups. Many individuals may struggle to understand or empathize with the experiences of those who have been oppressed, leading to a lack of genuine solidarity and support for efforts to address systemic racism and inequality. In order to move forward and build stronger, more equitable relationships between individuals of melanin-rich culture and individuals from other races, it is essential for all individuals to acknowledge and understand the impact of historical experiences on their relationships with others. This requires a willingness to engage in difficult conversations about race, privilege, and power dynamics, as well as a commitment to actively listen, learn, and reflect on one's own biases and prejudices. Building understanding, empathy, and solidarity between different racial groups is crucial in creating a more just and equitable society for us as well. This requires a collective effort to dismantle systems of oppression and inequality and to create spaces for healing, reconciliation, and justice. By acknowledging and addressing the unfavorable legacy of historical oppression and exploitation, individuals from all racial backgrounds can possibly work together to create a future that is built on principles of fairness, respect, and dignity for all. As a society, we are at a critical juncture where the pressing issues of white privilege and racism are at the forefront of our collective consciousness. It is imperative that white individuals take the time to educate themselves on these complex and deeply ingrained issues in order to effect meaningful change and promote social justice. One crucial step in this process is to educate oneself on white privilege and racism, and to understand how these forces shape our world and impact all marginalized communities. To begin, white individuals must invest time and effort in educating themselves on the concept of privilege, white privilege, systemic racism, and how these systems of white power and inequality intersect and perpetuate injustice. This can involve reading books such as White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, or Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. Watching documentaries and films such as 13th or American Son will provide valuable insights into the ways in which white privilege and racism manifest in global society. Moreover, individuals must actively listen to and learn from the experiences of people from our melanin-rich culture. It is essential to understand how racism and discrimination impacts our lives on a daily basis and to empathize with our struggles and challenges. Engaging in conversations, reading personal accounts, and attending events or lectures on racial issues will help individuals gain a broader perspective on the lived experiences of marginalized communities and foster empathy and understanding. Furthermore, all individuals must acknowledge their own privilege, whether it be white privilege, economic privilege, or other forms of privilege. It is crucial to recognize how white privilege affords individuals advantages that others may not have, and to be mindful of how they can use their privilege to support and uplift marginalized communities. By acknowledging privilege, individuals can begin to dismantle systems of oppression and work towards a more just and equitable society for us as well. Reflecting on biases and prejudices is another critical step in the journey towards addressing white privilege and racism. It is important for white individuals to examine their own thoughts, actions, and beliefs, and to actively challenge and unlearn harmful stereotypes and attitudes that contribute to systemic racism. By acknowledging and interrogating one's own biases, white individuals can begin to disrupt the cycle of discrimination and prejudice. Engaging in difficult conversations about race and racism is also key to addressing white privilege and promoting social justice. White individuals must be willing to confront their own discomfort and defensiveness, and to listen actively to the perspectives and experiences of melanin-rich people. By engaging in honest and open dialogue, white individuals can learn from one another, challenge harmful beliefs, and work towards mutual understanding and empathy. In addition, white individuals can support anti-racist efforts by participating in protests, supporting organizations and initiatives that work towards racial justice, and advocating for policy changes that address systemic racism. By donating time, resources, and energy to these causes, individuals can contribute to the larger movement for social change and help dismantle systems of oppression. Moreover, white individuals can use their platforms and influence to amplify marginalized voices and support our work and initiatives. By sharing their stories, promoting our work, and advocating for our inclusion and representation in various spaces, white individuals can help uplift and empower marginalized communities in the fight against systemic racism. In conclusion, acknowledging and addressing white privilege and engaging in meaningful conversations about race and racism with those from our melanin-rich culture requires active listening, learning, and intentional action. By educating oneself, reflecting on biases, engaging in difficult conversations, and supporting anti-racist efforts, white individuals can work towards creating a more just and equitable society for all. It is only through collective effort and solidarity that we can dismantle systems of oppression and promote social justice for us as well. I'm your royal narrator, Queen Magical Melanin. We trust that you have expanded your understanding through the insights shared by Baba Jelani Bumani Dembe, founder of Majestic Mind Matters University, in our Mandatory Mental Liberation Series special message titled, Historical Accountability and Melanin-Rich Culture Boundaries. Remember this, it is essential to honor the ancestors. We have a unique connection to the ancestors. They endured many unwarranted struggles, preserved our melanin-rich culture, and passed down invaluable wisdom through many generations. By honoring the ancestors, we pay honorable tribute to our roots and draw great strength and much-needed inspiration from the unwavering resilience and royal legacy that has paved the way for our present and future generations. Ancestral reverence is a powerful way for us to continually uphold our own melanin-rich identity, heritage, and great cultural legacy. Here is an ancient Alkebulan proverb to keep in mind. If you think you are too small to make a difference, you have not spent the night with a mosquito. Remember this as well, whenever you are in the presence of anyone, saying, they don't see color, it actually means, they don't see you. As a member of our melanin-rich culture, you must strive for knowledge of self for greater personal awareness. Always treat yourself kindly and seek to live a totally awesome and gloriously fulfilling melanin-rich culture life. So, like, subscribe, and share this very special melanin-rich culture link with everyone that you care about and that really cares about you and all of yours as well, and thank you for listening. Ashe.